Good morning, afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for what's going to be nothing short of a late but jam-packed daily market update. I do apologise, guys, we didn't make a video yesterday. I was somewhat recovering, but we are back a little bit later than usual. We do try and get these updates out around about 1 p.m. every single day UK time to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening in the crypto space, and that is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be looking at the week ahead, and we're going to be looking at an event that is set to take place, or to start to take place, on the 18th of February, and that is the much anticipated payback of the creditors, the people that lost money on the whole FTX exchange instant. Now, it's around about, I think, $18 billion in total that is set to be paid back, or $16 billion in total that is set to be paid back. And we're going to see a good chunk of that. Estimates are between $6.5 and $7 billion starting on the 18th. And they're focusing on sort of smaller creditors, 50,000 and less to begin with. But this is a lot of money that's going directly to people that are interested in the cryptocurrency space. Some of them are getting paid back more than what they initially put in or had at the time of the whole FTX 2022 instance that we lived through. Luckily, I was unaffected, but I did have lots of friends, some of which had 7 figures, 6 figures, that ultimately fell casualty to all of this. And I'm going to bet that, and they're getting paid back in cash, not crypto, that a lot of these people are actually going to put their money back into the cryptocurrency space. Certainly with the anticipations of what's to come. And then when we look at things technically, something fundamental is going to take this market to new highs, certainly in relation to Bitcoin. And we've looked at lots of examples of charts that broke into new all-time highs, did what Bitcoin is doing today, and then saw that continuation, whether that's the DAX, whether that's Vanex Semiconductors, whether that's NVIDIA. NVIDIA closed that gap, or is closing that gap, obviously on the back end of the DeepSeek news that we said it would. We're not concerned about the stock market. If anything, actually, I was looking with my Patreons on Friday at continuation for the S&P 500. And there is this macro view that we've got that Trump is going to do the same thing that he did in 2017 to ultimately spur on economic growth, and that's through weakening the Dixie, the dollar, which is a great bartering tool for him. But actually, he's likely going to perhaps lean on central banks to do this. I think we're underestimating how many rate cuts they're going to do. And there's this great sort of fundamental or economical story for the economical macro story for the markets. Technically, they look amazing, and we're going to look at a catalyst that might see them march on and see continuation in this video. But let's take a look at something that came out on the 14th. Now, today it is, I've just got to check, the 16th. So this came out on Friday. This is from the SEC. The SEC has now officially redeclared the XRP as not a security, but in fact a commodity. An ETF approval and Ripple case dismissal may really be right around the corner. We've seen Solana, Dogecoin, XRP's 19B4 filing along with Litecoin earlier actually take place. And this is coming out very timely, certainly in regards to an ETF that's likely going to be facilitated. And I'm going to make the argument and the case that XRP, it's a 2x in terms of market cap away from overtaking Ethereum. This is not Ethereum cycle. And actually in the future, I potentially think Bitcoin might lose that number 1 spot. It's just my opinion. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It might take years to take place. But actually I do have confluence in regards to my thoughts on this through fundamentally what some of these tokens are trying to achieve, technically as well, in regards to BTC DOM, likely being in a sort of big wedge pattern that ultimately takes it into the sort of 20% in regards to dominance. And I think that comes with the maturing of the space. But for now, it's top dog, it's king. We're still waiting for BTC dominance to roll. So this is very, very timely, very, very interestingly. Again, another catalyst. There's been 60 crypto ETF filings since the start of this year. It's February the 16th today, guys, if you're watching it today on the day of release. Let's talk about a catalyst that ultimately is going to take place on Tuesday. FTX will start paying creditors $16 billion on February the 18th, 2025. Up to $7 billion in the first stage. The amounts are calculated at November 2022's prices. So there's over $16 billion that's going to be repaid, but around about $7 billion kicking off on the 18th, which is a Tuesday. Now, interestingly, when we look at the Bitcoin, this is just consolidation before continuation. We showed you the DAX as an example. Can you see this consolidation it had before continuation? You don't just break out into new all-time highs to sort of capitulate, guys. That's my opinion. Anyway, but if we also look at the likes of Nvidia's a better example, you know, and then we've got this sort of broad continuation that's to come. And this could be one catalyst that sees that take place. Let's look at an article here. This was a good article from OneSafe. FTX's 16 billion repayment plan, a new frontier for crypto credited solutions. FTX is gearing up to pay back a whopping $16 billion to its creditors starting February the 18th, 2025. Yeah, you heard that right. I can't believe people aren't making more of a big deal about this, by the way, guys. This isn't just about making things right after the exchange's downfall. It also hints at a shift towards regulatory compliance and transparency in this wild crypto world. Let's unpack this. So what's the deal with the FTX's 16 billion plan? FTX was a big player in the cryptocurrency exchange game until it crashed in 2022. And that whole thing, somebody should make a documentary about that. They really should. And, you know, I followed it through and there's so much to sort of learn from those experiences. And I actually learned, I had a crypto on an exchange called Cryptopia. Some of you may or may not have heard of it. I think it was an Australian exchange, perhaps. And I had a similar thing happen to me with Cryptopia. Unfortunately, I didn't get any of really that back. And I think I had we're talking 2017, you know, some Electronium, some stuff like that in there that I'll probably never see again. So this isn't a new tale. There's nothing new under the sun, as Solomon says. So now they're finally rolling out their structured repayment plan and everyone's eyes are on them. They're kicking off with $6.5 to $7 billion, targeting those who took the biggest hits. It's a solid move, not just for financial recovery, but also showing that compliance is a thing in Web3 finance. I do wonder if there's anything in the FTT token. It's just not something that I would ever play around with. And is the exchange going to restart? You know, there's something fishy about that whole thing. Certainly given how close Sam Bankman-Fried was to regulators and politicians. The initial phase, getting those crypto payouts, the repayment train is leaving the station on February the 18th, 2025. This first phase is all about the little guys, making sure that those who suffered the most get their cash first. It's not just a payout, it's a blueprint for financial technology startups looking to get into the crypto funding game. Who benefits and what about cryptocurrency liquidity? This plan doesn't just help individual creditors. With billions coming back into circulation, we might see some interesting shifts in cryptocurrency liquidity and trading volume. Getting back these funds could boost confidence in receiving payments in crypto and engaging in cross-border payments. But what happens when creditors start liquidating their assets? That could stir up some market chaos. Balancing trust stability is going to be tricky. What this doesn't essentially highlight, unfortunately, this article, is actually those repayments are going to come in the forms of cash, I believe, not the underlying cryptocurrencies. Now, if we're talking about $6-7 billion over however long it takes, in some altcoins don't even do $1 billion in daily volume, and the vast majority of that is probably wash trading or sort of market making that shows up as volume. So this kind of an inflow or influx, certainly in smaller coins, could be absolutely insane. You know, these are the 24-hour volumes, and I think we're going to see a real, you know, something like Stellar, for example, only has 177 million in volume. So it's going to be very interesting, ultimately, to see what happens here. And I truly think something big is going to happen on the back end of this. And interestingly for me, when we look at sort of technically where we're at, we've got this sort of real continuation ahead of us. And we're just doing what we've said you were going to for a while now. And actually, we take that even further. When you look at the total cryptocurrency market cap, this is primed for upside. This is just broken into new all-time highs, consolidating, and is going to continue. We've also got technical targets for that. So is the total 2, total 3, and of course others. We've got this amazing time ahead of us, guys. Don't get shaken out. They want to shake you out before the bulk of what we believe is coming is. And ultimately, I think a catalyst that sees the market do well. So the XRP news is very interesting, very timely given the fact that it's on the cusp of an ETF approval. But the FTX news actually interesting as well. Certainly technically in regards to where we're at, we think it's just a small period of consolidation before that continuation. This could be a fundamental driver. And I think it's going to be very interesting to watch what happens this week, certainly post the 18th, which of course is a Tuesday. So what I want to do to kind of finish things off a little bit with you guys, just look at the week that we've got ahead of us. It's the President's Day on Monday. We've got a central bank, the Bank of Australia, the Royal Bank of Australia, or is it the Royal Bank? I'm not sure it is, or whatever. They're expected to cut rates again. The US, I think, will cut rates significantly more than what they're leading on to, although we had some counterintuitive data in regards to CPI that came out hotter than expected. That kind of leans on them not. And ultimately, the interesting thing there is, what did the dollar do? It initially spiked and then sort of tumbled, and I've got this broader trajectory for the dollar based on a 2017 scenario. On Wednesday, we have Fed minutes. So that's the release of sort of prior papers or prior discussion. And we've got US PMIs. So it's going to be an interesting week in terms of data. Dixie is really the main thing to watch, in my opinion. And actually, interestingly, very interesting in regards to what's going to take place with the FTX repayments. $6 to $7 billion in cash. I would argue a good chunk of that's likely going to find its way back into the markets. And of course, very timely with the SEC now redeclaring XRP as not a security, going into all these ETF filings, and of course the acknowledgement of the 19B4. Strap yourselves in, guys, for a good week. We'll be reporting on it daily. Become a subscriber if you're not already. We literally have, when you look at the stats, one of the fastest growing crypto channels right now. And it's thanks to you guys. Also on social medias broadly. We're doing very well, and I want to thank you all for supporting me in that journey. We want to become your one-stop shop when it comes to the cryptocurrency markets. Check our website out, allincrypto.com, etc., etc. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.